What's going on, guys, and welcome back to the channel. In today's video, we're going to be digging into how to use Keeper Product Finder, the tool to help us find our next brand direct wholesale account. Right? And to kind of set the stage for what we're really trying to accomplish is when we're reaching out to brands, ultimately we want to be qualifying that brand, right? It's essentially, think about it like reverse sourcing for OA, right? The reason why reverse sourcing is so efficient and such a useful way to source is because we can qualify products very quickly, right? I understand sales rank, competition, buy box, all the different factors that play into what I think about a product market all right in front of me, as opposed to if I was manual sourcing, for example, on Nike.com. I don't have sales rank, I don't have buy box, I don't have competition, I don't know whether Amazon's on the listing or not, just based on the information on Nike.com's website. Right, so I always have to link a product from any random retail website's listing back to Amazon to understand the actual Amazon qualification factors. Brand direct works the same way, right? And when I'm working with and reaching out to brands, I understand the what aspects make up that brand. I understand the velocity across the brand. I understand whether Amazon's a factor or not. I understand the sorts of competition levels. I understand all these sorts of things that I can make a deduction, make a qualification before I even reach out to the brand, right? And so that's why I'm such a proponent of the brand direct approach, as opposed to maybe the distribution method, right? Maybe the distribution approach where I reach out to 100 different distribution companies. But ultimately, the problem there is that I'm going to get a bunch of catalogs from these distribution companies and don't really know what's inside of them, right? There's going to be three types of products inside each of those distribution catalogs: products that are not on Amazon, products that are on Amazon that sell well, and products that are on Amazon that do not sell well. And the annoying thing is, the unfortunate thing is I have to do all the outreach, open the distribution account, get into that catalog before I really understand what's inside that catalog, before I understand the quality of that catalog. However, right, to tie it back full circle, when I do brand sourcing, brand filtering, and brand direct approach, I understand what makes up that brand before I even outreach, ultimately making my process way more efficient, right? So we're here in Keep a Product Finder, and what we're really trying to accomplish when we're qualifying brands is to just filter out the nonsense, right? Filter out the brands that we wouldn't be interested in. And a lot of these filters that we're going to use are going to overlap with a lot of the stuff we've talked about from an online arbitrage perspective, right? So we're going to use kind of like a macro level 30-day sales rank maximum just to kind of filter out any of the brands that we're not necessarily interested in. Right now, remember, we're going to be filtering on the actual product level, but we're going to tie it up into a brand, and I'll show you how we do that. Right, so we're going to set a maximum of 100,000 sales rank. We're going to filter out Amazon from the current market as well as the historical market, just to make sure that they are not a factor. Now, that's not to say we can't buy products that Amazon is a factor in, but for this exercise, we're just going to eliminate them completely from at least the past 90 days of the market. From there, right, we are actually going to come up here and set a seller minimum. And so the big thing that we're trying to avoid from a wholesale perspective is reaching out to brands that we really have no chance with, right? Reaching out to brands where either the brand sells on Amazon themselves or whether they have a couple exclusive sellers that deal with their product, deal with their brand on Amazon. All right, so we're going to try and filter out both of those scenarios by just simply setting a minimum FBA seller count at like 4, 5, 3, something in that range, right? Where the only listings we're looking at, and of course the only brands we're looking at, are likely resellable, right? Are likely resellable because they have 6, 7, 10 different sellers on them. And so the chances are, if they have that many sellers on them, we could be that next one, right? So we have the FBA seller minimum here. And the last thing we're going to do is we're going to scroll down to the bottom and set a star rating minimum. And the reason why this is valuable, I think I missed it yet, is because just generally speaking, with wholesale, we're thinking more macro, right? We ideally want to be going a little bit deeper into products, probably replenishing them, probably a little bit more stable, right? And so we want the products that we are buying just to have and provide a better customer service, negating the chances that we get negative feedback, negating the chances that they get returned, right? Because if we're buying a 1-star rated product from the consumer's perspective, chances are that's going to get returned more than, say, a 4 or 5-star product that's rated by the customer. So with this filter, we're just going to simply filter out any products that are rated by the consumer, 1 star, 2 stars, anything less than 3, right? And so that's going to bring us down to 68,000 products. Again, this is just going to allow us to ideally provide a better customer experience, providing more better products, and ideally reducing that return rate. So here we have 69,000 products that are rated 3 stars or more, that have 5 or more FBA sellers, that are under the sales rank of 100,000, and do not have Amazon in the picture. The last piece of the puzzle is, and I know for a lot of the OA stuff that we talk about, it doesn't necessarily make sense to qualify based on category, right? Because if we're reverse sourcing, category doesn't necessarily matter because we have the estimated number of sales right in front of us. But for wholesale purposes, it actually pays to dig into a particular niche, a particular category, a particular sector of products, right? Because then our outreach can be a lot more interesting and intriguing for the person reading it, right? So say, for example, I am going to be reaching out to a tool brand, right? An automotive brand, something like that. And I name drop 2 or 3 players in that industry, maybe people I already bought from. Right? It just allows and provides a lot more substance. It provides a lot more legitimacy in my outreach, ultimately increasing my conversion rate. And so when I come up with a template as my first outreach or a template for my kind of initial phone call, I'm going to cater it to the brand. I'm going to cater it to that industry. And so it just provides a lot more depth to our company. So the way we're going to do this is we're kind of going to go, either you're going to pick a category that you want. Like for me, I do a lot of like hobby brands, a lot of small to medium-sized hobby brands like camping, hiking, cycling, all those sorts of things. Just because I like to do those sorts of things myself. It's easier to have those conversations. But there's also thousands of small to medium-sized brands, the ones I'm looking for inside each of those hobbies that are not exclusive and just provide a lot of opportunity, right? But for this example, let's segment off of. Let's get my face out of here. Let's segment off. We'll do automotive, right? And so we're left with 1,200 products that fall within all the criteria that we've created for ourselves. And now what we're going to do is we're just going to start to sift through all the different brands, and we're just going to find something that's interesting, right? We're looking at the bottom here in our Keepa charts. We're looking for products that have an interesting Keepa graph in the sense that they're stable, the sales rank is stable, they're showing movement, they're showing oscillation, all those sorts of things that we're looking for, right? And again, part of the other benefit of digging into a particular niche is we understand the bigger players, right? So I know obviously that Milwaukee is probably too big to get, right? So I'm going to skip over Milwaukee. Of course, I passed a lot of Febreze and Little Trees, right? I'm looking for the small to medium-sized brands that I can now reach out to and potentially open an account with, right? So something like this is interesting. Married to, right? I looked at the Keepa chart. I mean, it's relatively stable. It looks interesting. I don't even know how to pronounce it, but it has velocity. Some oscillation in the offer count, obviously stable buy box. At this point, right, this brand has kind of met and passed all the criteria that we've set. The sales rank criteria, the no Amazon, the seller at the minimum sellers. It's checked all the boxes thus far. And at this point, right, once we get to the actual listing, all we're trying to do is validate 2 additional things. First and foremost, we want to validate that the brand itself is now on this product, right? So we can easily identify that within the buy box statistics. And it looks like they are, right? Mia Riera store. So we're going to pass. And so we're going to keep it moving. And ultimately, what we're going to do is just we're going to get to something like this. This is actually a really good one. Right? We could see, obviously, inside the Keepa graph, there is a lot of demand, a lot of oscillation, a lot of activity, pretty stable. But in the same token, right, I'm not necessarily concerned about maybe the trending that's going a little down on this buy box because ultimately, right, we're sourcing based on macro criteria. We're sourcing based on brand rather than this particular product. And so this product may be trending down and this may not be interesting for us. But again, we're trying to open an account with the brand Tornado, right? And so that's not to say the entire catalog that we get from our sales rep for within Tornado is going to operate the same way. All the products are going to operate the same way. And so ultimately at this point, all we're really trying to do is just prevent and avoid a listing where the brand is very clearly on the product, right? So this one looks good. Some smaller sellers on this market. No real dominant player, and of course no brand. And so at this point, this is a very good wholesale lead for us. And so now all we're going to do is just take the brand, plug it into Google, and look for their website. We're looking for tornadotools.com. Perfect. We're in business, right? So we've gotten to the almost the final destination. And now at this point, all we're going to be looking for is some sort of like, a lot of times you'll see like a wholesale contact info or a wholesale section on their page. Doesn't look like that's the case here. It looks like we have a contact page, which is a start, right? So sometimes they'll give you a section where you can reach out to the sales team. Obviously, we have a generic phone number, a generic email somewhere, info. And so we certainly can obviously email this template, send an email to info@tornadotools.com, give them a phone call, right? But what I do not want you guys to be doing is just simply entering a blank template here, sending it, and hoping for the best, and just kind of moving on, right? That would be the lazy approach. That's going to lead to a lot less success. What I want you guys to be doing is, yes, you can send an email here. Yes, you can send an email here. But I want you guys actually to go above and beyond and simply plug that brand into Google and just do sales rep LinkedIn, right? Because what this is going to allow us to do is find several different salespeople within that particular company. It looks like these aren't. Maybe Tornado Tools, right? We're going to be able to find pretty easily several different sales reps within their company that we can send a direct and personalized communication to, whether it be an email, whether it be calling their cell phone or their work number or whatever the case may be. Now we have a point of contact, which is the goal. When you send a personalized email to a specific sales rep within that company, we know our message is getting into the right hands. We know our chances of success are higher just because we're being a lot more strategic with our approach rather than just simply sending a blank message into somewhere where we don't know where it ends up. And so our outreach has to be specific to the niche, specific to the brand, identify how many products or the particular SKUs that you want, the quantity of those SKUs, ideal price point, and then, of course, personalize it to that sales rep as well. So this would be our first wholesale lead, this particular brand, right? And we keep it moving. That's the approach, though. That's going to be the process. Fuel filters. This is maybe potentially another one. Now, I've noticed, obviously, that the buy box is going down. But that's not necessarily a hindering factor because, again, we're qualifying. This is actually really good about a really good keep it chart because we're qualifying based on the brand. So the offer counts are rising a bit, but again, doesn't necessarily mean that's going to be the case across all the products within this brand. We're just trying to avoid the brand itself being on it, and we're trying to avoid any products where there's very evidently IP issues that are on the market. This looks like a good product. A lot of newer sellers. So we'll take it. We'll take the so Mopar. So I don't know. This is a weird one because I don't know if Mopar is their actual brand. If it's not, then this is going to be something that we're going to pass on. So yeah, Mopar looks like it's the brand. They may own this brand, this smaller brand. Fuel filters. Oh, Mopar. Yeah. No. So Mopar is the brand, right? So we want an account with Mopar. So here. So we have find a dealer. We have so Mopar dealers, maintenance schedule, find a dealer for first responders, chat with us. So it looks like find a dealer, and a lot of times the find a dealer is going to allow us to get connected with distribution companies, right? So if you can set your zip code or whatever, and ideally find, and a lot of times it'll connect you to a distribution company in your area, which is a perfect scenario. Of course, you can do the same thing. And find a couple different, Mopar sales reps pretty quickly, so you can send message there. But if you go through this process as well, you likely would be able to get in contact, or it would probably refer you to some sort of local distribution company that you can work with. So we got our second lead, right? And these aren't just product leads. Remember, these are brand leads that are inevitably going to connect us to different products within the brand, maybe adjacent products, that sort of thing. Now, the cool thing is, and this is one of the coolest parts about the brand direct approach, is that when we reach out to all these brands, 10, 15, 20, 50 brands, we're going to get no's. But the cool thing is a lot of those no's are going to lead to further future yeses, right? And what I mean by that is I'm going to reach out to some of these brands. They're going to be a no, but my follow-up is super important. It's gonna be, yeah, I understand maybe the timing's not right, right? Maybe we're not a good fit for you guys. Understand, completely cool. What I'm asking for you is to put me in contact with a distribution company that you guys can work with, that you guys can refer me to, that I can buy your products through them, right? I understand I can't buy directly from you. That's cool. But our company, a lot of your products fit into the kind of the mold that we've created across our catalog. We still want to buy your products. Can you put us in contact with a distribution company where we can continue to do so, right? So you're not necessarily buying from the brand, but the brand is going to put you in contact with the distribution company, ultimately getting you what you want, right? Ultimately getting you a catalog, granted from a distribution company, but it's a direct link to the brand, right? And so that's going to be the second best option. And this is going to be the process, guys, right? Filter based on all the filters that we went through, qualify based on, just general macro characteristics of the brand, and then continue to reach out to the brands. And if you do that over 100 times, you're going to have a brand direct catalog in no time. It's going to take a lot of work, but you will be able to do it. And so that's going to be it for today's video. Hope you did enjoy. I hope you found value. If you did, like the video, leave a comment, share it to a friend, and we will see you in the next one.